All right, what's up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, reporting in for a unit breakdown of the Scout Troopers. One of my all-time favorite units as a kid was the Scout Troopers. I mean, watching Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, and seeing these guys for the first time, I was fascinated. I thought they were really, really, really cool. Really liked the helmets. I just kind of liked the fact that these guys scout. These guys went ahead. They're all like sniper units, which was really really cool to me because I love shooting, and the the sniper aspect was just cool to me. And then the being able to just scout ahead, being the undercovery and sneaky little assassiny kind of guys, the special forces, I just thought they were really cool. So that's why I'm a Shadow Scout, because even in D&D, I like to be the Shadow Monk or the Rogue that goes in undercover and is kind of like the assassin and or the guy who recovers information. Yeah, the fact that these guys are kind of just laying low was really cool to me. I really liked them, and being able to see them on the speeder bikes was also a lot of fun. So these guys I really loved a lot. I also want to mention that we have a giveaway going on, and so if you are a subscriber and leave a comment down below, that is a point in entering in to win. And if you are on Discord and a member, then you get another point. Or if you're just a member on Discord, that's a point. Being a subscriber and leaving a comment is a point, but you can combine them. And then also, if you join the Patreon, then that is also a way to get an extra point. So if you are able to go in and become a $1 helper, then that's an extra 2 points. And then if you're a subscriber, then that's 3 points. And if you're a Discord member, that's 4 points. And then it just goes up from there. So hopefully you guys enter in to that. If you haven't already, go ahead and head to the Discord. Go ahead, become a member, chime in. If you've got any questions, rules, or general chat. If you've got stuff about list building, then that's fine. If you've got lists themselves that you're looking to just have someone look over, feel free to post it in like one of these little list stuff. I mean, you've got the Chosen One, and you've got the Emperor talking about a bunch of stuff, and I'll submit a list every now and then that I'm talking about or looking or thinking about doing, and Bungle or Cogill HS, stuff like that. There's a lot of guys here that are just posting all the time, which is awesome. I love it. And so I want to keep seeing it. And then if you ever play, TTS, if you ever go online and are playing Star Wars Legion through the simulator, this is a great way to look for a game, or if you're trying to stream one or play one, feel free to join up on this. It's a lot of fun kind of seeing you guys do all of that. Also, we have the Hobby Hut here. The Hobby Hut is great if you're painting or putting together anything. If you want to host a night, feel free to just tag everybody and be like, hey, I'm doing a painting night tonight. If y'all want to come on and paint with me, or if you guys are learning to try to put lights in your vehicles, kind of like, let's see, who was it? Was it the finished projects? Yeah. So, Velm, or Vihim, being able to put the lights in your vehicles, I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, see, and I like to showcase some of these things that you guys post. It's really cool. So if you are doing that, feel free to join the Hobby Hut, stream it, and tell people how it's done. Yeah, it's awesome. I want you guys to get more involved. Also, whenever we do the Shadow Command episodes again, the Patreon members will be able to do call-ins that are at least $5 and up, because they have a vested interest in this and don't want the YouTube channel getting shut down, or they don't want to say things that will downgrade everything on YouTube. So yeah, that's why the Patreon members will be able to call in if you wanted to, and or people who are on Discord, I'll have a kind of like a little channel set up where we'll let you know, or I'll let you know whenever we're going live, technically live for us on our end, so that I can kind of see what y'all are asking, or if you have any comments, questions, we can answer them directly and then post it that day to give you guys a little bit more involvement with us. and with the channel. So that is just kind of something that I want to do for you guys. And if you haven't already, go ahead and become a member on the Patreon. We have 3 and growing. We had 2, and now we got 3, and now we'll have 4 soon. So become a member. Get little videos like the hostage exchange or the intercept transmissions, talking about the objectives and the units I think are the most beneficial for those objectives, and some of the deployments that are really good for those objectives, as well as some of the YouTube videos a little earlier whenever I can do that. So yeah, go ahead and become a member. And every time that, y'all donate, I save that money on here, and then whenever there's a giveaway, I just use that money straight for you guys. So the more you guys donate, the bigger the giveaways can be, and the bigger the little prizes can be. So yeah, it's awesome. If you guys want to donate, it's just kind of like a monthly giveaway donation. So if you do the $5 and you get those extra little bonuses of being put into giveaways more, and yeah, just go ahead and become a member. And also, if you haven't already, go ahead and head to theburnacademy.com, subscribe for $15 a month, and download the app to get 3, 4, 5, and 6-day week workout programs, corrective exercise programs, videos of the workouts themselves, as well as descriptions of them, coaching videos, 120 different recipes, and just if you're short on time, you've got the 30-minute torture program. So if you don't know what you're doing, this is a great way to look like you know what you're doing and to look like a pro. And if you got any questions on anything, just let me know and feel free to ask. But all right, let's take a look at the Scout Troopers real quick. So the Scout Troopers have low profile, Scout 3, and then Sharpshooter 1. So with low profile, while you're defending, if you have cover, then you can cancel a hit. If you don't have any cover, low profile doesn't come into play. So if you have heavy cover, you can cancel 3 hits. If you have light cover, you can cancel 2 hits. Now, with Sharpshooter, if someone with Sharpshooter 1 attacks you while you're in heavy cover, then you have light cover, and then because you have light cover, you can cancel an extra hit, so you still cancel 2. But if they have Sharpshooter 2 and you get no cover, then obviously you can't use low profile. So yeah, there you go. Scout 3, even if you did recon intel on them, I don't think you can move recon to Scout 4. It's, I think, only Scout 3. So that's the farthest anyone can scout, which is really, really nice. And then it's an unhindered speed 3 move. It's not you can deploy on top of a building. So you got to just be careful of that. You can deploy behind that building, but not on top. And then they themselves have Sharpshooter 1, which is great for the cover rules that we have now. So this is going to be able to take away some of that cover. They have 1 health each. They have 2 courage for the unit, which is really nice with the new suppression and stuff rules. They have white dice saves, which sucks, but they do at least surge. Their speed 2, they have 2 black dice, no surging, from range 1 to 2. And then if you take the full unit just by themselves, that's 8 black dice at range 2 that you're rolling. So that's a good amount of dice for a super cheap, 48-point unit. So yeah, that's fantastic. And then they've got a heavy upgrade, a training, a gear, a comms, and a grenade. They have black dice in melee, just very typical kind of like your stormtrooper, scout trooper, snow trooper, all of that stuff. Now, let's take a look at the strike team. The strike team is literally the same, but instead of a base of 3, you have a base of 1. So this is a 2-man unit, while the other ones can be up to a 5-man unit. Everything is the same, except you have to upgrade a heavy. So you can't just take this and have 20-point unit. You actually have to upgrade the sniper or the saboteur to make it a 46 or 48-point unit. Now, let's take a look at the heavies real fast. So the DLT-19X sniper rolls 2 black dice at range 5, or 1 to 5, I should say. It's high velocity, which, while you're attacking, if each weapon in your attack pool has high velocity, the defender cannot spend dodge tokens. Now, if you were to combine the sniper gun with the gun on the card, so like say someone was at range 2 and you shot with your strike team at that person at range 2, you lose high velocity because the tiny little EC-17 holdout blaster doesn't have high velocity. So each weapon in the attack pool doesn't have it, so you can't spend it. So just be careful. Splitting fire is pretty easy to do, but you just kind of lose out on that pierce at a really close range. And this pierce isn't where you have to spend an aim, it's just built into the gun. Very, very nice for a 48-point unit strike team. And then you have the Sonic Charge Saboteur, which is different because the one here obviously is yellow, which means that it's an area of explosion, not just a unit. So it's going to hit each unit at range 1, not just one, with 2 dice, a red and a black that surges to crit, that is blast and suppressive. So there's no cover, and it's suppressive, giving you, at least if you roll blanks, a suppression, and if you roll at least a hit or so, then that's 2 suppression that you can dish out. And then for an action, you can arm a Sonic Charge, where you can place a Sonic Charge token within range 1 and line of sight of your unit leader. And then you can detonate that Sonic Charge after an action has been made, regardless of who it is. So, a common thing with the Sonic Charge Saboteurs, maybe 3 strike teams with the Sonic Charge Saboteur. 2 of them go forward and lay out as many bombs as they can, while the third one stays in the very back, out of the line of fire, out of line of sight, and then the ones in the very, very back can detonate the bombs that the strike teams way farther ahead on the board have put out, because it's the same Sonic Charge, detonate Sonic Charge. So as long as you have a Sonic Charge Saboteur on the field, they can detonate any of the bombs, but just the Sonic Charge Saboteurs and the Sonic Charges. So that's really nice to have. Even if you did a full Scout Trooper team in the back to make sure that the detonator stayed alive while the other ones went forward, or if you had at least a strike team in the back and 2 full Scout Troopers going forward so that the Saboteur stays alive a little bit longer. Maybe you get kind of 2 turns instead of 1, or 3 turns instead of 2, depending on how you keep your Sonic Charge Saboteurs or how often you're trying to put them in the line of sight of stuff. Now, let's take a look at the training slots upgrades. So the Duck and Cover is a great upgrade for the Scout Troopers because it gives them cover for low profile. So if you have no cover, you can give yourself a suppression token to gain cover. So if you are in light cover, like foliage or whatever, and someone shoots at you, you can give yourself a suppression to make yourself have heavy cover and to actually cancel out a third hit. If maybe someone is shooting at you and they've got Sharpshooter 2, well, you're kind of screwed, because then it doesn't matter. They're going to be able to shoot past that. Endurance, it's kind of like you don't necessarily have to have it, because I don't expect them to get shot very much if that range, that range 5 and really out of that kind of line of fire. So endurance might not be necessary for them, especially at Courage 2. Hunter, I think, is a very good one to have on the strike teams or Scout Troopers in general that have a sniper on them, because being able to gain that aim for 2 black dice that don't surge, especially, and it's just Sharpshooter 1, so if you roll 2 hits, then you get 1 hit through. If you're rolling 1 hit, it doesn't get through, so you're going to kind of need that aim. With this, you can shoot at any trooper unit that has a wound, so Dark Troopers, Wookiees, the Magnas, IRG, anything that has multiple health. This is wonderful to have for your strike teams, because they're probably going to be going also after units that have dodges, and you might have the Jedis that you're going after. They might have a wound, and then so you gain that extra aim from Hunter, but it is 6 points. Into the Fray, I would just ignore, because they're probably not going to want to be at range 1 of anything, because they're white dice, and there might be only 2 of them, and getting that surge is not worth it offensively for that. So just ignore that on any of the Scouts. Offensive push is also 6 points, just like Hunter, and I'd rather get an aim for just shooting at a wounded unit than having to move to get that aim and then recover and then move again to get a second aim. Like, that's just a hassle. So I would rather take Hunter over offensive push. Overwatch, sure, that's fine to have, but you're not increasing the gun range to 3. The gun range still stays at 1 to 2, but your ability to make an action at range 3 is there. So if maybe you are afraid someone's getting close that you can't see, and then they get to that range 3 and you can still see them at that point, then you can move. But I think it's just kind of like you don't necessarily need it on the Scouts. Protector's a definite no, because you don't have Guardian. Situational awareness is situational for them and can be a plus, and I would use it to kind of keep them alive if you also upgrade them with the prepared supplies to give them that free dodge when they need it. And then tenacity, I wouldn't waste it on them. They're not a multiple health, and they've only got maybe one other that'll die before you're able to use it, and you're probably not wanting to get them in melee anyway. And then up close and personal could be good on a full scout trooper unit because they obviously shoot at range 1 to 2, and then being able to cancel up to 3 hits in heavy cover, maybe even giving them a dodge to cancel a 4th hit. It could be very, very beneficial for them. So those are some of the upgrades that I would have for training on the scout troopers or the strike teams. Then let's take a look at their comms. So for the comms, jammer, you're probably not going to have them close, like I said, at all. And you don't want them to necessarily get too close with a strike team, but with the scout troopers, they have the range 1 to 2, and they're the ones that have a big dice pool, so you might want comms jammer on them if you're planning on trying to move them up that close, or plan on putting them in the way of a Jedi or Sith, in the way of your army, so that they have to kind of go through the scout troopers. Comms jammer could be okay. Could be. But for 5 points, I wouldn't put any comms stuff on them, but if you did want to put stuff and you had extra points, then sure. Comms relay, no, because you're probably giving them the order to have better order control, or they're just so far away that you're not even giving them an order to begin with, and you would want long-range comm link instead. So yeah, don't really bother with comms relay. Emergency transponders is, yeah, sure, yeah. If you have the extra points and you really want to put the emergency transponder on them, then sure, but just know that I don't think that you should upgrade these guys a lot because they're going to die pretty quickly, especially if you scout 3 ahead and you're not keeping them behind that line of sight. So yeah, emergency transponder could be good. HQ uplink could be okay if you wanted, but again, I wouldn't upgrade these guys too much because they could melt pretty quickly. Hacked comms unit, again, you're trying not to necessarily be at range 1 unless you're forced to be at range 1. And then long range comm link would be good because, they're probably going to be scouting ahead and they might be even on the other side of the board. So you're probably better off with long range comm link than you are comms relay, or you're better off with HQ uplink and stuff like that. But if you need to save points, I wouldn't just give them an upgrade. And for the grenades, I don't necessarily think they need grenades unless you have a full scout trooper team, in which case, if you did have a full scout trooper team, I would probably give them just whatever you want, honestly. Whatever you feel like you just kind of want. But for the gear slots, ascension cables and grappling hooks, I don't think they necessarily have to have anymore because of the new climb rules, which is helpful. But if you wanted to keep the speed to move while you climb, and you're going to be climbing with them, then sure, maybe grappling hooks would be okay. But I don't know, I wouldn't waste it. I just don't see the need for it, especially with the new climb rules, and that they're going to be taken out pretty quickly with the white dice. Electro binoculars and portable scanners, I wouldn't waste on them because you're trying to aim and shoot, especially with a strike team. You're definitely not putting electro binoculars or portable scanner on them. With the scout troopers, you might, just kind of depends, because maybe you infiltrated with Vader, or maybe you infiltrated with Iden and you want to give them some tokens and not really shoot because they're probably nothing in range at the time. Then maybe electro binoculars or portable scanner could be helpful, because if you've infiltrated with them, they're the ones who are going to be getting either shot at and or trying to get close fast. So giving them tokens is a plus, especially since you've scouted 3, you're pretty far up there. Emergency stims could be really good on them just because it's delaying those wounds for the rest of the turn. So until they activate, so they get shot at, but they've already activated, right? So they get shot at, and then they would take 2 wounds, but they can do emergency stims to stay alive, and then they would survive the next round, they would activate, and then they would get taken out. So at least they get an extra round to activate. Environmental gear, not necessary. They got range 1 to 5 when it comes to your sniper. So you're probably not moving, you're probably aiming, shooting. And then with your sabs, I think you're probably just trying to put out bombs. And you've already scouted 3 ahead, so you probably don't need environmental gear. And so prepared supplies could be handy to cancel out that 4th hit and keep them alive for a little bit longer. And then recon intel is a waste because they've already got scout 3. You don't need that. And then targeting scopes is amazing to have on the scout troopers, the full unit, not the strike team, because again, you're rolling 8, maybe 10 dice at range 2, and having that precision scopes to have precise 1 with that aim to reroll 3 instead of 2 is going to be helpful, especially since you don't surge to anything. So those are kind of like the upgrades that I would suggest having or not having for your scout teams. Now, everyone usually does snipers for their lists, and that's easy because it's a range 1 to 5. It's Pierce, and with a lot of red die saves on there, you kind of want that Pierce. So I'm not going to give you guys a list with the strike teams, or with the snipers. I should say I'm going to use the Sonic Charge Saboteurs. So this is just a little fun sab list with 10 activations. It's 800 points, and you've got 2 strike teams with the Sonic Charge Saboteurs and Prepared Supplies so that they can just kind of cancel that extra hit when they need it, and just try to lay down about 2 Sonic Charges, so 2 rounds worth, and then leave the full one in the back to be able to just, go ham. Or, you can use the the one of the strike teams in the back, and then have this Sonic Charge Saboteur full unit kind of ahead, laying as many bombs as possible, and then the other strike team also doing the same thing, maybe on a flank. And then you have Iden Versio to be able to give out her 3-pip, which would allow them to gain Tactical 1 and Steady. So what you could do is, you give your orders to the strike teams, they spend an action to arm and throw out a charge, then they can move speed 1, gain an aim, and then still take a shot at range 1 to 2 with 4 black dice if something's in range. So that'd be really fun to do with Iden's 3-pip, and then Iden is just fun. And then I have Veers in there for the commander slot so that Iden can infiltrate, as well as using his 1-pip at range 4 to infinity to continue doing as much long range damage as I can for the Sabs to kind of stay alive. Then I have Boba Fett in there with up close personal situational awareness, so he has the ability to gain even more dodges and cancel crits to stay alive, so he doesn't have to roll. And then Recon Intel just to kind of use his 3-pip to give an extra black dice to anyone at range 1 of him. And then I have full units of core, the T-21B with Shores, the Gideon Hask with Stormtroopers, so that he can possibly coordinate to the Shores to give them an aim, and then coordinate to the mortar if you decided to do that. And then Snowtrooper, so like with Boba Fett's 3-pip, maybe you give it to him, and then you give 1 to the Shores, which gains an aim and coordinates to the mortar. Or you give 1 to the Storms with Gideon, who can coordinate to the snow, so that all of your core units have an order, and Boba Fett. So the only ones still left are, Veers and all your scouts and Iden. But that could be fun to be able to use that Iden's 3-pip to do a lot with the Sabs in the first round. Then I have Callus with Lead by Example to be able to give out some, to be able to get suppression off of other units because you have nothing else. You have Tenacity on there to be able to help his weapon gain an extra dice, because he's only rolling 4, and it's a red, 2 black and white. And so having Tenacity gives him 2 red, 2 black, and a white. So 5 dice in melee surging to crit is awesome. And then when he has the bow staff, he can gain charge. So even if he does get 1 action, he can still move, gain a name from tactical, and then still charge. So yeah, that's nice. And then he's also immune to Pierce, so any Jedi he's good against. And then lethal 1, so he has the ability to make it Pierce, even with his bow rifle. So that's really, really nice. And then I have environmental gear on there, so that way he's not hindered by the difficult terrain. He can really do a good speed 2 charge. Bosk with Hunter and targeting scopes, just like you would normally have on Bosk. Then again, I have the Scout Trooper full team and then 2 strike teams. If you wanted to, again, you could just do 3 strike teams and give yourself just even more points. So now you have your 3 strike teams, and maybe you give one of those at least an extra way to stay alive with prepared supplies. Or maybe you do that with all of them. Maybe you just, let's see if I can do that actually. Give them the situational awareness. That way, if they do need that dodge when they need it, they can use it to cancel the crit. Now you've still got 17 points left to do with whatever you wanted. Maybe you give Bosk the Seize the Initiative to give him order control. And maybe with these guys, you do Recon Intel, which gives you 8 more points to do with what you want. And then with the 8 more points, maybe if you wanted to make it 800, you could give targeting scopes to all your shore troopers, so that way they can reroll 3 dice with the T-21B at range 4. Yeah. That'd be cool. You give them an order, they have an aim, and then they can spend that aim to reroll 3 dice, especially at range 4. That critical one can be very, very helpful. With the 2 black, 2 white, yeah. Now you're at 800. You're still at a very loaded 10 activations, 800 points. You still have bounty, which is really nice to have. You've got your shores. You've got your full 2 units of Black Sun Enforcers completely decked out, fully upgraded. I think this would be a fun list because you've got your units in the back, your reptilians in the back to protect whatever it is and or go forward. Like if they need to go forward and really go ham, that would be awesome. And then you've got your long range units, and then you've got your charged saboteurs. Even Bosk can lay down a Dioxys mine, so you've got tons of mines on the field. And if you played Minefield, oh man, your opponent is not rushing forward if they've got a Jedi, especially like Asajj and all them. Yeah, they're going to be getting exploded. And so, with this, so let's take a look at the orders here. So you play ISB Investigation on whatever round you want, probably the second round. And then so by the third round, maybe say they've played a 1-pip. Well, now you prevent them from either playing, or maybe they played a 2-pip, and you prevent them from playing a 1-pip the next round. So they have to lay both of their 1-pips face up on the side, and then the next round they can't play any of their 1-pips. So you know they're either going to play another 2-pip or their 3-pips, which give out a ton of orders. So since you know that's coming, what you could possibly do is go with Covert Observation, and when your opponent is issuing an order using a command card, each unit that is issued an order is going to gain a suppression. So since you know they're going to be handing out a lot of orders, possibly, maybe you go with this one. It's a 1-pip, and then they all have to give out a ton of suppression, and then you get to go first, maybe with your sabs, and lay down another charge real fast, and then shoot to do what you can before you get obliterated. So that would be a really fun one to have. And if you don't go with that one, then I would go with Merciless Munitions to have that Dioxys charge, especially if you're playing Minefield. You know, that's just a ton of stuff that you get to have. And with your long range, you can shoot them as they're coming, and then if they do get past everything, you've got your Black Sun Enforcers to kind of really go ham, because then you've also got Bosk, which is long range. Yeah, so this would be a really fun list to have. And then lastly, I've got the full sabs with Iden and Inferno Squad. You've got 2 strike teams with the Sonic Charge Saboteurs to just go in and lay as many as you can, especially with her, again, her 3-pip, being able to lay down a charge, move forward to gain an aim, and then if they're at range 1 or 2 of anything, they can shoot. Inferno Squad with Retinue, with Hunter. If you wanted offensive push, that would be probably good for the Alpha Strike instead of Hunter, because you don't have other snipers. Because usually what I would do is probably go with Iden and Inferno Squad after the strike teams have gone, because then if you have wounded somebody, then that Hunter would kick in. But I've got full units of Sonic Charge Saboteurs, so they stay alive a little bit longer, not the strike team Saboteurs. I don't know if I said that. I'm sorry if I did, but yeah, 2 full unit of scouts with the charge. Inferno Squad with Hunter, Iden with the offensive push and situational, just like I normally build her out, because that I feel like is the most situational out of anything. Now, if you wanted to tone her up and kind of focus a little bit more on something, then you don't need these specific things. Like if you're going to keep her as a sniper in the very back, you probably don't need ID 10, and you probably don't need situational awareness, which would make her a lot cheaper. But yeah, you move up, you arm, then you move at speed 1, gain the aim, and then you can shoot with 10 black dice, range 2. Fantastic. Then you've got your shore troopers with the T-21, you've got your storms with the DLT for impact, and then you've got the pike capo, and then 2 full unit of pike syndicate foot soldiers with the disruptor. So that's got range 1 to 4 as well. So you have, let's see, the T-21, which is range 1 to 4, the DLT, which is range 1 to 4, and then 2 PM13 or P13Ms, which are all range 1 to 4. And then you have the pike capos along with them. So everyone is going to be courage 2. That is the, I should say, your like mercs, your little capos and foot soldiers are all courage 2. And then the pike capo can just support with more dodges or an aim for the other guys. And then you've got independent dodge and surge for the foot soldiers. Man, yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff that you can do with this list. You don't have a force user or bounty, but you do at least have Iden and, you know, a separate kind of 3-man group you can have flanking on the side since they're going to be good on their own. But yeah, that's kind of like 3 lists. Those are all 10 activations using the scouts in some way or fashion, and using the sabs, which you don't necessarily see all the time. So yeah, hopefully you guys either learned something, or maybe have been able to take away something, or maybe play these lists or one of these lists. And if you do, leave a comment down below and tell me what list you used, and or join the Discord. And also, to remind you guys, we have the giveaway going on, that if you are a subscriber and leave a comment, you're entered in as a point. If you want to gain another point, then you can become a Discord member, or if you are a Discord member, you already have a point. So being a subscriber, leaving a comment, and being a Discord member gives you two entries. And then anyone who is a Patreon member is going to keep gaining more entries to win. So yeah, hopefully you guys enter into that, because that is a Battle Force box. So that's just a reminder. And then also go ahead and head to the Discord and become a member there. Head to the Patreon, which all the links are in the description down below, so that you can support the channel for more giveaways and more expensive giveaways to be able to give you guys something more. And then also head to theburnacademy.com for $15 a month. Download the app and get everything to look like a pro in the gym. Now, I really, really want to thank my Patreon supporters, Kitsune, Anthony, and Tyson. Thank you guys so much for everything you do in support of this channel and all that you do in the Discord. I really, really appreciate it. And may the rest of you guys have a good rest of your day.